Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. There's a moment every man remembers. The look that felt like something, the silence that felt louder than words, the connection you almost touched but never confirmed. And years later, it still bothers you, because what if she was interested? And you misread it completely. Before we go deeper, take 1 second. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me, because what I'm about to explain is rarely said out loud. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm speaking to you not as entertainment, but as a psychologist who's watched thousands of men misunderstand the same signals again and again. Not because you're unaware, not because you're inexperienced, but because female attraction doesn't announce itself the way male attraction does. It hides, it tests, it observes. The first misread sign is emotional neutrality. When a woman likes you, she often pulls back emotionally instead of leaning in. Men expect warmth, enthusiasm, obvious excitement. But many women, especially emotionally intelligent ones, become controlled, measured, almost calm around the man they're drawn to. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much. Attraction raises risk, and risk triggers self-regulation. So when she's calm with you but expressive with others, your mind says, friend. Her nervous system says, protect this. The second misread sign is inconsistency. One day she's engaged, curious, present. The next day, she's distant. Men interpret this as games or lack of interest. But psychologically, inconsistency often signals internal conflict, desire battling self-doubt, interest colliding with fear of vulnerability. A woman who feels nothing stays consistent. A woman who feels too much fluctuates. The third misread sign is challenging behavior. She questions you, pushes back, tests your frame, disagrees openly. Many men assume attraction equals agreement. In reality, women are most curious about men they don't want to pedestalize prematurely. Challenge is engagement. It's her way of seeing how solid you are under pressure. If you've ever walked away thinking, if she liked me, it would have been obvious. Understand this. Female attraction is rarely obvious to the man it's directed at, because it's filtered through caution, social conditioning, and emotional intelligence. And this is just the beginning. The fourth misread sign is oversharing without flirting. When a woman opens up to you emotionally, talks about her past, her fears, her ambitions, but doesn't flirt overtly, many men place themselves in the safe friend category and mentally exit. That's a mistake. Psychologically, emotional disclosure is not neutral, it's selective. Women don't reveal vulnerable internal material to men they feel nothing for. What confuses men is that female attraction often starts with emotional safety before it ever becomes sexual expression. She's not avoiding attraction, she's building a foundation to see if attraction would be safe with you. Here's the part most men don't realize. When a woman shares personal details but doesn't escalate physically, she's observing your response. Do you rush to sexualize it? Do you become performative? Do you stay grounded? Your reaction determines whether attraction grows or quietly shuts down. Many men disqualify themselves by assuming vulnerability equals platonic intent. In reality, it's often the doorway. The fifth misread sign is proximity without pursuit. She finds reasons to be near you, same space, same group, same timing, but rarely initiates direct contact. Men misinterpret this as coincidence or passivity, but attraction doesn't always drive pursuit. Sometimes it drives positioning. A woman who likes you may place herself in your orbit and wait to see if you notice, not because she's powerless, but because she's assessing your awareness, confidence, and emotional intelligence. Now let me tell you what connects all 5 signs. Female attraction is rarely about sending a signal. It's about collecting information. Women are constantly reading emotional cues, behavioral consistency, and psychological safety. When she's attracted, she doesn't rush towards certainty. She slows things down to observe more carefully. This is why men who are impatient miss the signs. You're looking for green lights. She's watching how you move in uncertainty. And here's a truth most men were never taught. Attraction is not proven by what she gives. It's revealed by what she risks. Emotional exposure, inconsistency, proximity, challenge, restraint. These are not absence signals. They are risk signals. If you've been confused by women before, it's not because you lack value. It's because you were trained to expect attraction to look like approval. Female attraction often looks like containment. When you stop chasing validation and start observing patterns, everything changes. You no longer ask, "Does she like me?" You ask, "Is she investing emotionally, positioning herself, and testing my stability?" That's when you stop missing what was never meant to be obvious. And there's something even deeper underneath this, something that explains why women hide attraction in the first place. Here's the truth most men never hear. Women hide attraction because showing it makes them vulnerable, and vulnerability is dangerous in a world that judges women for desiring freely. That's why signs are subtle, inconsistent, and easily misread. What looks like disinterest is often the opposite: intense internal evaluation, emotional risk assessment, and quiet fascination. Think about the way she mirrors you, your gestures, your energy, your tempo. Many men brush this off as coincidence or friendly rapport. But mirroring is a subconscious signal of comfort and interest. Her body is saying yes, even when her words are neutral. And because men are trained to respond to explicit verbal validation, this signal often slips right past you. You walk away thinking she's just friendly, while her nervous system has been quietly lighting up around you. Then there's the way she uses playful teasing. Not every joke is just humor. When a woman tests you with light ridicule, she's probing boundaries, assessing emotional resilience, and gauging confidence. The mistake men make is taking this personally, or assuming she dislikes them. In reality, teasing is an early form of intimacy. She's engaging, she's curious, and she's attracted, but in a way that forces you to reveal your strength under subtle pressure. Another signal most men misread is prolonged eye contact paired with withdrawal. She looks, she smiles, and then she steps back. Men panic, thinking, "She's uninterested. She looked at me and left." But that brief, intense attention, followed by restraint, is classic female attraction. It's her way of testing whether you can handle desire without chasing or clinging. Here's the point. Every sign of attraction you missed is actually a hidden invitation. The problem isn't that she's unclear. The problem is that you're conditioned to look for obvious approval rather than nuanced emotional investment. Women communicate attraction through energy, consistency of engagement, and emotional risk, not through blunt statements. Most men never realize that the woman who seems neutral, inconsistent, or challenging is often the woman most deeply drawn to them. And when you finally understand this, everything about dating, relationships, and female psychology shifts. You start seeing signals that were invisible before. You begin recognizing risk, vulnerability, and subtle interest as the language of desire. This is where awareness changes your life. When you see attraction as subtle, intelligent, and risk-based rather than obvious, you stop missing opportunities. You stop confusing curiosity with neutrality. And you start responding to women in ways that make them feel safe, understood, and drawn to you, all without chasing or overcompensating. What comes next is the secret mechanism women use when attraction grows, but they still hold back. Understanding this is where most men fail completely. Now let's dive into what most men completely overlook: the energy behind attraction. Women don't just use words or gestures, they use emotional currents. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but it's powerful. You feel it as tension, curiosity, or warmth in a moment that seems ordinary. Most men label it as friendliness or dismiss it entirely, and that's the trap. When a woman's energy shifts around you, even slightly, it's rarely random. It's a signal of her internal evaluation. She's asking, without words, "Can I trust you with my desire?" Notice the little things. She laughs a certain way when you speak, touches her hair or neck when she's nervous around you, leans in subtly, mirrors your posture unconsciously. These microsignals are often drowned out by what men expect: overt compliments, direct flirting, or obvious pursuit. But female attraction doesn't operate on the surface. It's layered, cautious, and always filtered through emotional intelligence. And here's what's critical. Women test boundaries constantly. When she challenges you, disagrees, or debates you, she isn't pushing you away. She's seeing how you handle pressure. Can you remain grounded, confident, calm? Men misread this as rejection, but in reality, it's a powerful marker of attraction. Women are wired to seek men who can navigate uncertainty, emotional complexity, and challenge without breaking. Another sign men misread is selective attention. She remembers small details, something you casually mentioned weeks ago, an offhand joke, or a personal preference. If you've ever wondered why she brings up a minor fact at the perfect moment, it's not coincidence. It's proof she's emotionally tracking you. Most men ignore these cues because they're subtle, but this is how deep female interest often manifests, through mental and emotional focus rather than physical pursuit. Finally, there's the paradox of intentional restraint. She could make her feelings obvious, escalate interactions, or initiate contact, but she doesn't. Many men interpret this as disinterest or game-playing. In truth, restraint is a measure of desire and respect for her own emotional safety. A woman who likes you will often control how much she exposes because she wants to feel secure before fully committing her attention or energy. Understanding these dynamics changes everything. Suddenly, what seemed like confusion becomes clarity. Patterns that once seemed frustrating reveal themselves as conscious signals. Emotional neutrality, teasing, selective attention, restraint, they're all pieces of the same puzzle. And when you recognize them, you gain an almost unfair advantage. You see desire that others overlook, and you respond in ways that create connection, tension, and attraction without desperate effort. Next, I'll reveal the single mistake men make that destroys attraction before it can even grow. It's subtle, but devastating. Here's the harsh truth most men never admit. The single biggest reason attraction dies before it even begins is misreading restraint as rejection. You see it all the time. She doesn't text back immediately. She keeps her distance in a group. She hesitates before responding to a joke or flirtation. And your mind screams, she's not interested. But that's exactly what she wants you to figure out. She's testing your awareness, patience, and ability to interpret nuance. When you panic, overtext, over-explain, or try too hard to gain approval, you destroy the delicate balance she's carefully creating. Female attraction thrives on a subtle dance of attention, curiosity, and tension. Too much chasing collapses the dance. Too little awareness, and you miss the signals entirely. The men who succeed are the ones who read restraint correctly. They interpret it not as rejection, but as desire under control. Another critical mistake is taking flirtation at face value. She might joke, tease, or even touch casually, and men assume it's meaningless. The truth? Every touch, glance, and laugh is filtered through emotional evaluation. She's assessing you constantly, your composure, your confidence, your emotional intelligence. A man who ignores these cues misses the game entirely. Attraction isn't a single moment. It's a series of micro moments that accumulate to create desire. Then there's the danger of logical overthinking. Men try to decode signals as if female attraction were a formula. If she did X, she likes me. If she did Y, she doesn't. That's backward. Attraction is fluid, emotional, and context-driven. Women aren't operating by rigid rules. They're gauging risk, chemistry, and compatibility in real time. Your ability to feel and respond to that flow, rather than overanalyzing it, determines whether you connect or lose her attention. Finally, men misinterpret emotional testing as games or hostility. When she challenges your opinion, questions your behavior, or contrasts herself with you, she's not rejecting you. She's observing how you respond under pressure. Calm, confident men who handle it without defensiveness become magnets. Reactive, insecure men self-eliminate. If you've ever wondered why you thought a woman liked you, then suddenly she seemed to vanish. This is why. You weren't rejected. You misread restraint and subtle signals. Female attraction isn't about being obvious. It's about assessing risk and value silently, emotionally, and intelligently. Once you understand this, everything changes. You stop chasing, stop panicking, and start seeing what's really there. And the next layer, the secret behavioral patterns that signal deep, hidden attraction, will make this crystal clear. Now let's go even deeper, into the patterns that reveal genuine, hidden attraction. Most men never notice these because they look for what's obvious, flirting, compliments, or physical escalation. But real female interest shows up in the subtle, unconscious behaviors she can't fully control. The first is micro-engagements. Small, almost imperceptible interactions, brief touches on your arm, leaning slightly closer in conversation, adjusting posture when you enter the room. These are signals of connection. She's not doing them consciously. Her body is betraying her desire. Many men dismiss these as coincidences, but in reality, they're windows into her internal state. Then there's emotional calibration. When a woman is attracted, she subtly mirrors your mood and energy. You feel it as harmony or intensity in her presence. This isn't flattery, it's subconscious alignment. If she laughs when you laugh, shifts when you shift, or quiets when you're serious, her nervous system is syncing with yours. That's a strong, often overlooked marker of attraction. Another critical pattern is time investment. She finds ways to include you in her life without overtly declaring interest. Shared routines, private jokes, remembered details, these are not random acts of friendliness. They are evidence she values your attention and presence. Men frequently overlook this because they confuse effort with obligation. But effort directed at you consistently, thoughtfully, and without immediate reward signals attraction. Then there's controlled vulnerability. She lets you see pieces of herself, opinions, insecurities, ambitions, but never all at once. This isn't rejection or hesitation, it's careful emotional testing. Women are wired to reveal in increments, watching how a man handles each layer before offering more. If you miss the first signs and assume neutrality, you fail before the connection can deepen. Finally, notice selective exclusivity. She may interact differently with you than with others, giving more attention, laughing more genuinely, or showing subtle preference. This doesn't guarantee commitment, but it is a clear pattern of attraction. Men often ignore this because they focus on loud, obvious signals, while women communicate in small, consistent emotional cues. Once you learn to read these patterns, everything shifts. What once seemed confusing now becomes predictable. You start recognizing attraction even when it's hidden, subtle, or contradictory. You no longer rely on chasing approval. You respond to signals with confidence, presence, and awareness. The final truth is brutal but empowering. Women don't need to tell you they're interested. They show you in ways most men can't see. The difference between missing attraction and claiming it is simply your ability to observe, understand, and respond correctly. The last section will tie everything together and reveal how to use this knowledge to create magnetic, unmissable attraction. Here's the final truth that changes everything. Once you recognize the subtle signs of attraction, your entire approach to women, dating, and relationships transforms. Men spend years chasing signals that aren't there, overanalyzing small gestures, and panicking over silence. But when you understand female attraction, you stop reacting. You start perceiving. The most powerful shift comes from awareness. You begin to see restraint, inconsistency, teasing, emotional sharing, and micro-engagements not as obstacles, but as invitations. Invitations to respond with calm, confidence, and presence. Women are drawn to men who understand the dance without forcing it. Men who panic, overcompensate, or misread subtle cues inadvertently push her away. Men who perceive and respond appropriately become magnetic. Then there's the power of patience. Understanding attraction isn't about immediate results. It's about observing patterns, respecting emotional pacing, and knowing when to engage and when to hold back. Women are testing, evaluating, and positioning, always subtly. If you can match that tempo, if you can maintain composure while reading the signals, you're no longer chasing attraction. You're allowing it to grow naturally. Confidence comes next, but not the shallow confidence most men believe matters. This is deep, secure confidence that comes from understanding psychology and emotional dynamics. You know what signals matter, which ones are tests, and which are genuine. That knowledge gives you calm authority. You don't need validation because you can read desire accurately. That certainty is irresistible. Finally, integration is key. Every signal, emotional neutrality, teasing, selective attention, micro-engagement, controlled vulnerability, is a piece of a larger map. When you connect them, you don't just understand female attraction, you predict it. You respond in ways that make her feel safe, seen, and drawn to you without needing to chase or manipulate. You move from confusion to clarity, from frustration to magnetism. Remember this. Attraction is rarely obvious. It's subtle, intelligent, and risk-averse. Women communicate it through energy, restraint, and carefully measured engagement. Most men miss it entirely because they expect it to be explicit. But when you learn to see what others overlook, you step into a realm where connection is almost inevitable. So, watch closely, listen carefully, and respond wisely. Observe the subtle signs, honor her pace, and hold your presence steady. This is how men go from being overlooked to unforgettable. This is how you stop misreading her signals and start becoming the man she notices and can't ignore. You now have the roadmap others never teach, the insight most men lack, and the psychological edge that turns hidden interest into undeniable attraction. Use it wisely.